What is up? In today's video we're gonna make Tommy sucking the life of his mother Candice. So first I'm gonna make the models in computer in the program called Blender, and then I'm gonna 3D print it and paint it. So let's get started with the Tommy. In Blender you always have to start with either a cube or a sphere. Let's start with the sphere. This will be his head. So then I shape it a little bit, and then I made another sphere, and this will be torso. Then I shaped the left hand with something called brazier cord, and I inflated it. Congratulations for me, we have hand. Now I made something similar but with the leg. Then I make hands, yes, with the sphere as well, and I make one finger with the same technique as for the leg. Then I shape it. Sorry, I haven't made videos in 2 years. My voice is not as good as before. I need some practice.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
So I made this finger and I copied it. This is good because I don't need to make it from the scratch. I just copied it. It saves time. Nice. I made him yellow because I thought that it would be nice for you to see some colors, but actually it was really bad for sculpting. And I messed up with the hand. But it's okay to mess up with the hands because hands are hard to make. So then I wanted to make a shoe, so again I start with the sphere. So I made the basic shape of shoe, I add this thing below the shoe, and then I don't know why, but I keep refining it and keep adding new things to this shoe. I learned how to make the sails, but when I'm looking at this right now I forgot everything. So hours were passing away and I was still doing this shoe, and at this moment I decided to add a donut to the shoes. Then I added those lances. It takes me few days. When the over-detailed shoe was ready, I moved to the hands and fingers. I connected them together and shaped some more details. I increased the resolution of the face by remeshing it, and then I make air holes and nose holes and air holes and mouth holes. I added a very long tongue because Tommy needs to suck the life of his mother Candice. I made it from sphere. Yes, I am making everything from spheres. Then I made the eyes. It was really simple. I just make, guess what? Yes, sphere. And then I mirrored it to the other side. And then I was about to make tips, but you are wrong. I didn't make it from sphere, I made it from the cylinder. And then I detailed the face, and after that I detailed the teeth, so he could have teeth like a proper vampire, so he can suck blood more easily. After I was happy with the face, I went on detailing the torso, so I made nice shapes of the torso. I detailed his buttocks, and then all of a sudden the eyes disappeared, making him look more creepy than before, but I fixed it. And then I started detailing the trousers, making them wrinkles because they are old. And when I'm making this, make sure to subscribe. I'm waiting for 2 million subscribers. This is my lifetime goal. I'm waiting for this 4 years, still didn't hit. Please subscribe. At 2 million subscribers, I will show my face finally. And now I have a different face because it's been 2 years since I showed my face in camera. My face is now more beautiful, you want to see it. So I mirrored the leg to the other side so we can have 2 legs, and also the arm and hand. Also I experiment with wrinkles. I added him more wrinkles because more wrinkles makes character more scary. And Tommy was pretty much ready. So I moved to the Candice. I started making her as well from the sphere. I know it not look right now as a woman, but trust me, it will look. For this one I wasn't using any reference pictures, I just make it from my mind. It might not be the perfect replica of Candice, but whatever. Let's suppose that if the Candice got her life sucked out of her by her son, she just get older because of this. Yes, she became older because she don't have enough blood. She became older and eventually she died. Right now I'm making her granny hair because every respect beautiful granny have a hair like this. I made her very big lips because Candice made some plastic surgeries to look more beautiful, but at the end when she was old it not look so good. All the botox in her chins are visible now. This is how you would look like if you gonna be doing plastic surgeries. So when the face was ready, I moved to the torso, and for this model we just gonna make half the torso because she will be sleeping in her bed. So what's the point of making the legs and arms? Actually we're gonna make half arms. So when the half of the body and her face was ready, I placed her on the bed. I made this bed previously and somehow I forgot to record it, but this is just a single person bed. She have single person bed because I don't want to make a double person bed because it will cost more resin to print, more time, more resources, more garbage in our planet, and you know, things like that. Did I just say that my figures are garbage? Okay, so when the Candice lie comfortable on the bed, I make a block of, that's not clay, that's just empty block of mesh, and with the move tool I position it so it would look like a covered duvet. Right now it's looking like Candice is preparing to do some magic tricks in circles when half of her body is magically disappearing or something, but no, we're just making a duvet here. So I made some folds, yes, I made some more folds, and I repositioned the booba to be more spread, because when you're lying and you have boobas, the boobas are typically, you know, acting with the gravity pulls the boobas on the sides and things like that.
Stop it. Get some help.
I made some stabbing in her chest. I think Tommy did this with his tongue. If so, he have the ability in his tongue to be hard as knife. That's weird, but everything is possible in life of luxury. So when everything was ready, I go back again and make some more details like fingernails of Tommy. So then was time for printing. So I start with the Tommy. It takes 4 hours to print, and I cut him in half because if I would print it as a one figure, it would be much smaller and it would not fit on the build plate. By cutting it in half, I doubled his size. Face reveal and 2 million subscribers, not now, subscribe. So the next step was just to remove it from the build plate, so I applied the anti-dripping something and I got my box because I don't want to make the mess with resin. This thing stinks a little bit and it's quite toxic to hands and to skin, to hands, to everything. So I remove it, I put it on the box. I got here also one piece of toilet paper in case I need the poop. Of course I'm joking, this is just for cleaning the mess. So then I moved the build plate on the silicone mat and I started removing the supports. I tried to do this with the plastic scraper, but actually it didn't want to go. So I just used my hands to remove Tommy from its supports, but I still needed to remove the base, so I used the metal scraper, and this time it was actually just a little bit easier. After a hard battle with the scraper and the build plate, after 30 minutes almost everything was removed. So then I removed the remaining supports from the model, and then was the time for cleaning. So I give the torso and the legs a nice bath. I poured them into denatured alcohol 95%. This is just for cleaning, this is not for drinking. Do not drink this. In the meantime I just cleaned the mess and I placed the models into the second container with much more cleaner denatured alcohol. Then I put it on my wash and cure machine and I set it for 5 minutes to just dance in the water for 5 minutes. After the time passed, I just get it out from the water on the tray just to dry. When the Tommy was completely dried, I just put it again on the same machine, but I put it on the tray and I turned on the UV lighting, so the UV light would cure him and he will be more strength. As you see, I made him a little bit cube in the middle, so the two parts would be connected later on more easily. Then I just set up Candice to print 2235 layers. It printed for 6 hours in the night and in the morning it was ready. So exactly as before, I remove it from the build plate, then I remove the supports, then I drop it in the alcohol and it sinks like a Titanic because it was empty inside. After the second washing, curing and drying, then was the time to remove the tiny little supports in the mouth of the Tommy. Those supports are sometimes needed to hold the whole structure. Then I removed the tiny imperfections on the bed and I sanded it because when the supports are removed it leaves a nasty marks. So actually I sanded it with sanding papers. I started with superfine and then I gradually increased the grade of the sanding paper to smaller and more smaller. We have got a lot of imperfections from the supports on the Tommy's butt, but don't worry, I'm just gonna sand them all and they won't be that much visible. I tried to wet his buttocks to sand better, but I'm not sure if it really helps with anything. Then I noticed that my connection cube it's actually too big, so I sanded it as well. Then I super glued the buttocks to the torso. As you see, Tommy have holes in the feet. I made them before printing so the alcohol would come inside the Tommy and wash out the uncured alcohol. And right now I'm trying to cover this hole, but it's hard. It's just hard. For some reason the holes were smaller, so I just increased them with knife and then I trimmed them after putting the cap inside. But we got another problem with the Tommy. The line between his torso and legs was quite visible, so I decided to cover it with the air dry clay. So I spit on it. I used just water, but you can also spit on it to make it more soft, and I tried to cover this hole. Okay, now let's move to the final part, painting. As you see, I bought this spraying boot and I'm gonna apply the grey primer on both models. I also bought this mini airbrush. It's working the same as the large airbrush. I turned the painting boot and all the sprays will go into the ventilation system and out of my room. As you see, I'm spraying in parts, in layers. Normally you can see that a lot of people using the grey resin for 3D printing, but I decided to use red clay color for my 3D prints because then when I want to prime it, I use the grey primer and grey on grey won't be visible what I'm painting on. I actually forgot to cover the holes on the Tommy's feet, so right now I'm using epoxy clay. I mix two compounds together to get one mass that will harden in 5 minutes. I place it on the feet. When all the models were properly primed, I moved to painting the first base color. Let's start with Candice's face. First layers of base paint are pretty meh, but trust me, it will get better. Right now you see second or third layer, and now I'm ready to paint some highlights. Painting with a brush is quite time consuming, and actually I need to do 2 or more layers, so I decided to tape the half of the bed with the tape, and the second half I will be just airbrushing. This is just more convenient, but I need to add tape. And while I'm airbrushing it, let's talk about important updates to this channel. From now on, all the comment sections will be open for spam.
Oh, hell no!
So you can post there your spam, questions and things like that, but don't go much with a spam please. And if I see stupid comments like "I want Lord Cyric from 2018", I will just delete them and ban you from the channel. If you want old Lord Cyric, maybe buy yourself a time machine and go back, or watch the old videos. Also make sure to spam what you would like to see next in the videos. So in 2 years I will be making new video. The duvet on Candice's bed looks pretty boring, so I added some little ornaments to make it more interesting. Now I'm painting the tips. As you see, 3D printer done very good job printing those little elements. And we can't forget about irises. I go with black because she's dead. I decided to also go with the same technique with Tommy, so I covered in the tape his elements like feet, that won't be black. I put in my airbrush flow improver, so it will improve the flow. On top of that I add airbrush thinner solution, because paint for airbrushing needs to be thinned, needs to be like watery substance, not dense. If it's gonna be dense it will be clogged and I will be angry. So I primed his legs. I started with the buttocks, then I go with the torso, and when it was ready I painted the boots on black brown. Then I go in reverse mode, I duct tape everything in the tape that is black and leave only parts that will have the skin color, like arms and heads. Head, only one head. But actually I should have taped more, because later I discovered that I did the black with the white. Not good. In mid painting I put this cardboard so I could not dirt any more things, and then I go with the highlights on areas like cheeks and nose. Tongue I painted on red because tongue is red, and I painted on black those eyelashes or whatever it is. Tommy looks a little bit like emo. So when it was ready I placed him in front of her back and it fits perfectly. Now I just paint his tongue or more blood color. This is actually black with red. And also I covered it with the hole that Tommy makes, and I made some drippings of blood on her chest. I painted the blood drips near the Tommy, and to make this blood more realistic I get the gloss polytrue non-varnish and painted the tongue of Tommy with this color, as well as the drippings of blood on the mattress and pajama of Candice. At the end I painted the buttons, and pretty much that was it. Let's see the final effect. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you haven't already, smack the like button in the face as hard as you can, and spam in the comment section your spam about what you would like to see next from Life of Luxury, or maybe other things. See you in the next video, bye bye, in 2 years, or maybe sooner if you're gonna be a good subscriber. Meanwhile, click on this video to watch the edited versions of Life of Luxury that I made in real.